Hey, yo, peace, peace. It's your man, Judge. Come right back at you with some of that real talk real fast. Now, if you can, make sure you hit like, leave a comment, hit repost. It helps your boy out. Now, this right here, what we're looking at a medieval remake of this thing that we call the Wild Man. Now, if you notice, it has a rod right here. That rod represents order and justice. It has the crown up there on his head. So it lets you know that this is a noble character. It has a kingdom. It has a shield, letting you know, and it has a lion on it, letting you know that it's willing to shield and guard its kingdom with honor and bravery. It is as fierce as a lion. Now, someone said that the lion represents that it was once part of a noble kingdom and it was severed from that. That's dope as heck, and I can go for that too. But see, now, this wild man right here, he has this shield, and because he was part of the Tartarian Empire, they would hire them because they were scattered all over the doggone place. Not only did the Tartarian Empire deal with them, but the Roman blank church dealt with them as well. They would work for them as well. Now, when it came to the Roman church, they would tempt them to shave because they referred to them as the beasts of the field. But many of them, they were like, man, you know what? This is part of my heritage, this hair. They said, I'm rocking this here. So the men and the women both wore it. And they would stick to their things. But then as time went by, some of them felt that, you know what? Beauty, they saw the shaved women and they saw that was a different standard of beauty. So they began to shave themselves. And they began so they could just blend in. Now, the Catholic Church, they used to take the nuns and they used to take the women and turn them into nuns. And then they would teach them how to shave their legs and shave their arms. But then they were allowed to keep the body hairs on them. They would, and that's what it was covered up by that garment that they used to wear. Right here. This is an old image of a wild woman. And like I said, the church used to have them wear clothes to cover up that, and they would have them shave their arms and their hands so that they can blend in. But man, this is something that's in our genes. If you totally forgot about grooming yourself, you would look like a wild person. Your teeth would be messed up. You would have hair growing all over your body. And you would just look wild. You would get the hair, even I grow hair up on my shoulders and stuff like that there. That's part of the genetics. Because part of us are part earthling. We came out of the waters and on to the land. Now let's get back to the wild man. So some of the wild men, they had their own empires. And they would work for the Tartarian Empire. Now when you work for the Tartarian Empire at that time, they would grant you certain things that you would need that you couldn't just get. They would give them to you, man. They would give you money. They would give you gold. They would give you access to fire. They would give you alcohol. They would give you firearms. They would give you all the things that you would need in trade. And the king would be the one who made the deals with the doggone empire, and they made sure that he had to make sure his people was right. Now here's the deal. If someone owed the Tartarian Empire or the Tartarian government some money, and that they were like, you know what, well, you're not going to pay us? You're going to hold back on those pearls that you owe us? Okay, we're going to send the wild man over there to you. So then they would come as an army, and then they would come and then defeat that part of the land who refused to pay taxes to the doggone empire, and then they would go on about their business. These were warriors. You don't believe me? They were extreme warriors. And they were known for their brute strength. They would tussle and fight with animals, lions and stuff like that. They were tough. Here's a picture of them attacking a Moorish castle or palace. Look at the little dark-skinned Moors in the window. And the Moors with the bow and arrow, fighting back. They were, how do I say this? During the times of Tartaria, they would be like, okay, this part of South America, you guys have a lot of pearls in that area, and you guys are masters at swimming up under the water, staying up under the water for 5 minutes and more and grabbing those pearls. So we want some of those doggone pearls. So you go ahead, you can keep your land, you give us some of those pearls, and then we will send you things in trade for the pearls. They'd be like, okay, you got gold over here in this area. You give us some of that gold, and we'll send send you things in trade. Yo, you have fine marble and fine wood over here. Okay, so we want that. Sandstone over here in Ohio and different places. We want that. Whenever you feel out of place, they will send armies. And sometimes the armies look like this here. Those wild men. They were strong soldiers. Even still to this day, when you look at the U.S. military, what do you see in there? Bunch of wild men. White and black. Now, some of these wild men are the beings who are what you would call Johnny-come-latelys, because the original beings who came up out of the earth, the original beings who were birthed from planet Earth look something like this right here. These are what the original humans or the original earthlings look like. Something like your East Indians. And you've seen them East Indian women. Let's see, now I have to talk about the Etherians and the gods. Because see, that's where that woolly hair. See, the beings who were birthed from the earth, now I'm going to have to do this in 2 parts. The beings who were birthed from the earth, they look just like this here when they finally begin to look like a human. But when they were going through their humanoid looking, they look something like this here. You still got webs in between your fingers. Still to this day, some of you still peel just like doggone snakes. And not only that, when you're in your mother's womb, you go through a phase to where you look like a doggone tadpole, and you spend the first 9 months of your life within the waters of your mother. Matter of fact, this earth is 80% water. The human body is 80% water as well, or 70-something% water as well. You went through a phase, a reptilian phase, and then you became this humanoid looking, this thing right here. But before, there was eons, or there was hundreds of millions of years of you looking like this here. A lot of the ancient stories that we hear of are stories that came from their experiences here on this thing that we call Earth, or on this plane of existence. That's the best way I can say that. Here, this chart represents starting from a single cell, and then you went to a fish-like character who began to come up onto the shores, and then it would go back into the water. But then it began to come out into the shores, and then it started to live longer. And then as it began to come out into the shores, scooping like this here, it developed arms and it developed feet of the thing of a fish. Then it became this little lizard thing because it had to start reaching up to grab things to eat. Then it became a full standing lizard, a reptilian person. This is what they call these the dinosaur people or the dragon people. Then it went to this little reptilian-like thing, and then it mutated to this humanoid-looking thing. Now, this was at the point where this thing still didn't know how to groom yet. It didn't know how to make itself look fancy and all that. So it became known as a wild man. The hair that grew on him was for protection, and it was also used to sense danger and stuff around them. Now, here's the thing, though. These things, the original humanoids, they were real small. They weren't that doggone big at first. They gradually got this height, or got this height and taller. Man, I see I'm going to have to do a part 2 to this here. But if you want me to continue, please say yes.